I'm D. Hicks, and I'm with the Hilt Academy, High Impact Leadership Training for you. If you are a leader, a manager, a supervisor, or an influencer of people, you know that leadership matters. But you also know that it's hard. I believe that sometimes we make leadership harder than it needs to be. So I'd like to share with you an idea or two in this series about how we can make small changes that make a big difference right away. So let me get real with you. I got a face here that occasionally shows how I actually feel. I don't think I do poker very well because the expressions on my face reveal almost exactly what my thoughts are. I've got a look, and I don't think I can actually do it in this video, but forgive me if I'm not able to pull it off, but I've got a look that makes people feel I think they're stupid. I've been told this from time to time. Let me see if I can actually do this look here. Okay, all right. I say, Donnie, you'll help me understand if I get this look right. Okay, here's the look. All right, ready? Did I do it? Is that right? That's the look, okay? What I'm actually thinking right there, and you might want to zoom in on that and actually look at it. If it gave you kind of a creepy feeling, sorry about that. But apparently I've been told that that look that I give people makes them feel stupid. Here's what I'm actually thinking. I'm thinking, what the hell? Because I genuinely do not understand why you're doing what you do. And it's not a disdainment thing. It's not like I'm judging you, like, judging you because you're wearing Crocs out in public, or you drive a Prius, or you're wearing those sweats that buckle up at the bottom. What's up with you? None of that. I'm not judging any of that stuff. It's because I genuinely can't wrap my mind around what? Okay? This didn't work well as I was raising my children. In fact, they have got multiple stories about times when I would use that expression on them, and they thought I was angry with them or being super critical of them. And really, truly, I just didn't understand why they were doing what they were doing. At one point in time, Christopher, my firstborn son, who always had a camera with him, whipped that camera out and caught me with that expression, and then printed it and turned it, I think he turned it into posters. I've got a small version of that hanging in my garage right now just to remind me on a regular basis, don't give people that look. But here's what's going on in the background. I'm really wondering why, and maybe you're like that too. Maybe you as a leader or a manager or a supervisor work with a bunch of people and you're trying to accomplish something. It's just simply not going to happen unless we all work together really, really well. Unless we trust one another, unless we're direct communicators with one another, unless we have a clear vision about where we're trying to go. And it simply will not happen unless we are unselfish in our process, including us as a leader. It has to start with us. Selfish leaders, now that's another one of our videos coming up down the road. Selfish leader is they are a force of nature, but a negative force of nature. So we know that this is just simply not going to happen unless we click together, unless we pull together. But from time to time, we encounter members of our teams or people who support our teams, maybe from other parts of your enterprise or your dream or your vision, vendors, I don't know, people who support your team it's just not working, right? So you encounter these people from time to time, and maybe because you've learned how to communicate directly. There's a link up here about a video about communicating directly instead of triangulating. Maybe when you communicate directly with them about that, they say, okay, all right, okay, sure, I'll change. And then you walk away feeling pretty good about it, but they don't change. And so maybe because you have tenacity and because you have a little bit of patience and grit, you come back and mention it to them again. And they say, you're right. Okay, sure. Okay, this time, deep breaths. And they're going to change, they say, and they don't. Why do people do what they keep doing when they say they're going to change? Why do we do that? Why do you do it? Why do I do it? Here's our little nugget. We do what we do because it works for us. I do this behavior because I get something out of it. Let's put a finer point on this, though. I keep doing it, even though I promise you I'm not going to do it, even though I'll write it in my diary, stop doing it, even though I put Post-it notes on my mirror every morning, stop doing it, even though I wear a t-shirt with the word don't on it, I still keep doing it. Why? Because it works for me. Or I think it works for me. I get something out of it, and that's why I keep doing it. This is one of the most important principles of leadership. If I want change to occur, change has to occur on multiple levels. Certainly it has to occur behaviorally, and then it has to occur with our mental models, and then it has to even zip clear down to our disciplines and our habits. When change occurs, it only occurs because I think what I'm doing now doesn't work for me any longer. Those of you, I'm not in this group, who are very mature, you're a kind of person who can look at behaviors that you've got, habits, disciplines, behaviors, and say, I can see when this is not going to work for me anymore. I can see down the road when this is going to stop working. And so you start working on changing that behavior, habit, discipline right now, before it stops working. You are a sight to behold. I applaud you. You're an amazing human being. I don't work that way. And most normal people, with all due respect, bless your heart, don't work that way. Most of us, when we think something is not working for us, we just do it louder. We do the same thing harder, faster, louder to try to get more out of it. We try to make it work for us because it used to work. It worked last week, it worked last month, it worked since I was 11. And so all I need to do is just do it more, and then it'll keep working. Eventually we discover that the wheels fall off that thing and it stops working and it's a smoldering mess and we've got a big train wreck coming up behind us because we didn't stop that thing soon enough. We need to do something differently. Now, I believe a mature person, I've met one or two of them, I'm certainly not one in this regard, is someone who can, like I said, look down the road and say, that's not going to work, I'll change now. But most of us don't do that. Fun story. Standing in the kitchen one day, my 3 children were there, all at adult ages. And my wife, Julie, came in. She's about 5 feet tall. She came in and said something to me. She asked me a question. And I speak English very well. It's not my first language, but I speak English very, very well. For the record, sarcasm is my first language. So I speak English well enough that when Julie spoke to me in English, I knew all of the words, but I had no clue what she was asking me. And so I looked at her and I think I gave her that look. I think so. It's probably one of those cases where I gave her that look and I said, I don't understand. I just genuinely didn't understand what she was asking me. So she took a breath. Can you picture her, Donnie? You can picture her doing this, right? Okay, you can actually hear her voice. You can imagine her doing this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. She took a deep breath and repeated the very same words to me, but a little more slowly, as though I was an infant or a toddler. This didn't help. I looked at her again. I probably did an emoji thing like this kind of thing. And then I looked at my 3 children who were gathered there watching the train wreck that was about to take place with anticipation, eating popcorn. I don't know what they were doing. They were all standing there. Looked to them for help. All 3 of them did something like this. Chris did this. Jonathan looked down. Katie looked right at me with a little bit of a grin on her face. And I turned back to Julie. Let's try this again. And I said, I got nothing. I still don't understand. She was using all the right words. She then thought, all right, I'm going to give it my best shot. Took another deep breath. Now she's frustrated. She says exactly the same words again to me. Now, not only more slowly, but now with a little bit of an edge. And I still didn't get what she was asking. So I said this to her: use different words. Well, she did. She used some very choice words that were very, very different, had completely different meaning, and I got her point. She turned and stomped out of the room, and I said, I understood what that meant. It wasn't one of my best moments. It is a story that my children tell now from time to time. Use different words. How does that relate to our conversation today? It's pretty straightforward. If something isn't working, change. Use different words. Use different behaviors. Instead of doubling down on what used to work, use different behaviors. We do what we do not only because we think it works for us, but because it has worked in the past. So we just keep doing it. If you're trying to work out a conflict with somebody and it's just not working, use different words, use different behaviors, do something different. But this is all against the backdrop of the reality that we do what we do because it works for us. Now, around the phrase works, if you could double click on that word for a second and kind of expand what I mean behind that, I don't just mean that we get exactly the results we're after. I mean that we get the neurological payoff of following a series of micro pathways and triggers in our brain that pay for us with dopamine and serotonin and adrenaline. We get all this stuff. It feels good to do what we've done before. And when the payoff, the thing that works for us, is smaller and smaller and smaller, but there's still a little bit of a payoff there, we just keep doing it. Our brain loves this kind of stuff. But think about it. Are you getting what you actually want? Are you getting the result you're actually trying to achieve? Are your decisions better than they used to be? Are your finances better than they used to be? Are your relationships more encouraging and more peaceful than they used to be? Is your team working better than it used to work? Why do we keep doing what we do? Well, because we think it works. It's probably not working. So it's time to actually try something different because it stopped working probably a long time ago. Now, of course, we've been talking about you and me, but here's the fun part. Let's take this and apply it to other people. If you're supervising, isn't that fun? It's always a lot more fun to apply stuff to other people than it is to yourself. So let's take a pass here. If you're a supervisor of somebody and you are trying to help that person change some of their performance behavior, you talk with them and they don't change, and you talk with them again and they don't change, and you're going like this a little bit, and you talk to other supervisors, what the heck? Why do they keep doing this? Well, because it works for them. They get some sort of payoff for it. If you want the behavior to change, you got to figure out what that payoff is, take the payoff away, and then they'll change their behavior. Real simple. Think about that. Remove the payoff. It's not mean, it's kind, it's respectful, especially for the rest of the team when you do that with somebody. Take the payoff away. I was on the phone today with one of my friends who's the head of a large publishing company. And she was talking about one of her senior team members who over the last year or two has become increasingly loquacious. Go ahead. Since you're on YouTube right now, you're right next door to Google. You can Google loquacious if you want, okay? Drew will probably put a definition right down here somewhere about what loquacious means. He's become increasingly loquacious in their executive team meetings. She suggested that he has even been talking, this is an executive team of 9 people, he has been talking about 60% of the time. 60% of the airtime goes to this one guy who's not even one of their senior team members. He's talking. She's very frustrated with that. And I said to her, why do you think he does that? Well, she had some ideas. And then I suggested he does it because it works for him. If he's been doing it for a year and keeps doing it increasingly, it's because he's getting something out of it. What do you think he's getting out of it? If you want him to stop the behavior, take the thing that he's getting out of it. How about even this? How about even asking him, why do you do that? He'll tell you what he's getting out of it. How about just take that away? The behavior changes. All right? Apply it in that kind of situation. I hope this is helpful for you. Look around, have fun looking at your life as a leader. It's got to start with you. Why are you a leader anyway? Leaders get there first. That's why. So apply this to yourself first. Always start with yourself and then go out to them over there. All right? Donnie's waving a sign over there to remind me to tell you to hit the like if you like this, hit that subscribe button if you want more, and hit that bell. It'll notify you when new content comes out. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. You're doing great stuff. Keep up the good work. Here's to you.